Davao City in the 1980s wasn't the peaceful metropolis it is today. It was a war zone, a city ravaged by crime, communist insurgency, and political instability. But from this chaos rose a man who would come to define the city's transformation, Rodrigo Duterte. A former prosecutor with a stern demeanor and a sharp tongue, Duterte wasn't your typical politician. He didn't smile for the cameras or deliver flowery speeches. But the people listened, because what he offered wasn't promises, it was order. He declared war on criminals, drug lords, and even corrupt officials. And in a place crying for peace, his iron fist rule was welcomed. This was where the myth began, not in Manila's marble halls, but in Davao's gritty streets, where survival meant strength. To understand Duterte's Davao, you have to walk its streets. Every corner bursts with local flavor, from a scent of grilled isaw to the unmistakable aroma of durian, the king of fruits. Lined up on street stands like spiky trophies, durians are a symbol of Davao's pride, just like Duterte. He wasn't some distant official. He rode a motorbike through back alleys, popped up at wet markets, and listened to people in slippers, not suits. His image was everywhere, not on billboards, but on murals, tricycle stickers, even t-shirts hanging next to dried fish and bananas. The locals loved him not for his polish, but for his presence. In a world of politicians wrapped in protocol, Duterte was wrapped in a leather jacket and the smell of city sweat. And that's exactly why he resonated. Duterte's crackdown wasn't just headlines. It was felt on every block. Curfews were enforced, drug dens dismantled, and criminals disappeared, some literally. Human rights groups sounded alarms. But for many Davaoenos, the city was becoming livable again. Kids could play outside after dark. Jeepneys could pass, without being stopped by armed thugs. Critics called him a dictator in the making. Supporters called him a hero. Duterte wore the controversy like armor. He never denied being tough. In fact, he doubled down. If you're a criminal, he once said, you better leave Davao or leave the world. Harsh, yes. Effective? Many believe so. This was no ordinary mayor. This was the sheriff of Davao. For decades, Duterte stayed local. National politics didn't interest him until the people changed that. As social media exploded, so did clips of Duterte cursing at criminals, confronting elites, and casually dropping bombshells at press cons. People outside Davao began asking, who is this guy? He was raw. He was real. He was unpredictable. In a sea of rehearsed speeches and recycled slogans, Duterte was lightning in a bottle. And when Manila's politicians laughed off the idea of Digong for president, the internet laughed back louder. His videos trended. His name surged. He was becoming a political rock star. But behind the humor and the rage was a man who had built something undeniable, a city that worked. Could he do the same for a country? Duterte didn't want to run, or at least that's what he kept saying. I'm too old, he claimed. I hate Manila. But the clamor grew louder. Millions of signatures, motorcades across islands. Facebook pages begging for him to save the nation. And then, on a quiet day in November 2015, he changed history. Filing his candidacy was like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. Supporters exploded with hope. Critics braced for chaos. Suddenly, the mayor from Mindanao was a frontrunner. It wasn't just about policies, it was about presence. Duterte represented a rebellion against the elite, the establishment, the same old faces. For the first time, The South had a voice that echoed through the capital, and it was shouting. His campaign broke all the rules. No flashy ads, no big spending donors, just Duterte, a microphone, and a message. Change is coming. He cursed, joked, threatened, and inspired, sometimes all in one speech. But behind the bravado was a strategy rooted in decades of ground-level politics. He listened to farmers. In Bukidnon, jeepney drivers in Pasay, fishermen in Zamboanga. He didn't offer utopia, he promised discipline. And in a country tired of corruption, that was enough. His rallies swelled with people. His message became a movement. And when the ballots were cast in May 2016, the verdict was clear. The mayor from Davao was now the president of the republic. The palace gates were opening. As he stepped into Malacañang, Duterte didn't shed his Davao ways. He brought them with him. The durian-loving, profanity-slinging, motorbike-riding outsider was now at the helm of 100 million Filipinos. He launched a brutal drug war that divided global opinion. He defied Western pressure and pivoted toward China. In Russia, he cursed the Pope, trolled oligarchs, and refused to play by traditional politics. But through it all, he remained the same man Davao knew, unpolished, unpredictable, and unafraid. His legacy is complex, his methods controversial, but his rise undeniable. From durian-scented streets to the halls off power, Rodrigo Duterte changed the game. Love him or hate him, the man left a mark no one can ignore. If this story of power, politics, and durian gave you chills, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment. Was Duterte a savior or was something else entirely?